How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We just got some news out of Russia that could be very bad. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not spreading, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, all that stuff, because I am still really bullish on the crypto market long term. But we have some headwinds. We have some news coming out of Russia that could be really bad. Like I said, for the crypto market, but could be bad for the whole world. And there was just an update that I wanted to cover. Also want to talk to you about how I'm going to navigate the coming months and what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to buy. I'm going to talk you through it a little bit towards the end and tell you what I'm looking at buying too. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I really do appreciate that. There is a link underneath the video to Unstoppable Domains where you can get a readable wallet address. And they are giving away a lot of money. So they're giving away $500 a day. So there are a couple different things you have to do. It's on their Twitter, but you can check that out. Also, there's a link down there to BlockFi. So you can get up to a $250 bonus when you start buying Bitcoin over there. If you're outside the US, you can also get an interest rate up to about 9.5%, I believe, on some of your cryptos. So definitely check that out underneath the video. Now, overall, crypto market was looking a little bit worse this morning. Then it looked a little bit better. We popped around 39,000, I believe, on Bitcoin, and then fell back down. And now we're just hovering around 38. We broke through a couple different supports over the weekend and maybe even Friday, but we broke under 42. We broke under 40. We broke under 38. We kind of popped up a little bit now, but we're still hovering right around this level. A lot of altcoins are bleeding against Bitcoin recently. And this is just what happens. If we look over the last 30 days, Bitcoin's still actually up 10%. A lot of these other altcoins, though, are either sideways or down a little bit, with the exception of Avalanche, Shiba Inu, and a couple others. So overall, the crypto market's not looking good. The stock market wasn't looking that great last week either. And a lot of it is due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So this just came out as of, I believe, in the last hour or so. President Vladimir Putin gave a lengthy televised address on Monday accusing Ukraine of being a puppet of the United States after the Kremlin said that Russia would recognize the independence of two territories in Ukraine controlled by Moscow-backed separatists. So these are a group of people in Ukraine that are from Russia, and they had, I believe, a good portion of these different groups in the past. I believe this is in the 90s, and this is way outside my scope, but he said that we gave these republics the right to leave the Union without any terms and conditions. This is just madness. He says that Mr. Putin is recognizing the territory's independence, and the Kremlin said earlier, in the face of military aggression of the Ukrainian authorities, as a result of which the civilian population is suffering. Ukraine denies having any plans to launch a military offensive against the separatist regions and says that Russia is staging acts of Ukrainian aggression to justify an incursion. So a lot of people are saying, or a lot of people think, and I was just watching Tom Nash's video on this too, who's actually Russian himself, so he has a good amount of background on this. He thinks, just like this article thinks, which is Russia is trying to get Ukraine to get offensive, stage some kind of aggressive act, and then have Russia just come in and say that they actually have a good reason for this now. And it's like Putin's trying to get them riled up to then go on the offensive. And I think this is obviously going to hurt the markets if this happens. It seems more and more likely that it is going to happen. And I don't think it'll be good for pretty much anything unless you're into gun stocks, and then I don't even know if gold will do well. But I think it will hurt a lot of the different parts of the stock market, the crypto market, and overall everything is going to be hurt, including people, from this if this happens. And we're seeing a lot of fear in the market. The Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is in extreme fear again. We just got out of it. We're actually getting close to greed. We're like right in the middle here about a week ago. And I think it is interesting. This is a good tweet. Human psychology is fascinating and often detrimental to investors. The brain is focused on short-term changes and often loses sight of the bigger picture. After all, if we can't survive an attack by a lion in the next hour, why worry about something 6 months down the road? That's very true. So right now we're going through all these interest rate hikes. We're going through the Russia-Ukraine conflict. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people are taking money out of the market, and they don't care where it is as long as it's not exposed. But when you look long term, you often get a different picture. Right now might be one of the best times to buy because this could all be cleared up tomorrow. Now, if it's not, we could also see more red, and that's just the risk reward that you have to gauge for yourself in the market. We also have just historically seen that Bitcoin outperforms a lot of other assets. If you look at the Sharpe ratio, which is basically the return when you account for how volatile it is, Bitcoin is very high. So Bitcoin is fearsomely volatile, but also has more upside, or more appreciation. They say Bitcoin Sharpe ratio over the last 5 years is 1.6 compared to 1.1 for Vanguard's balanced index funds. So if you had put 100% of your money in Bitcoin over the last 5 years, you would have multiplied your cash 105-fold. This is pretty significant. I mean, when you zoom out, right, not look at the last year, 2 years, but a couple years, right? It was just 2 years ago that Bitcoin did a 10x, and it stayed above that 10x pretty much since then. If you just dollar cost average $200 weekly over the last 5 years, you would have spent about $52,000 and you would have about $483,000. So there is a significant amount of appreciation that's happened. And of course, like I said, a lot of assets are going to get hit hard if we go through a war or something like this. The US has said that they don't want war, but they would impose heavy sanctions. So that's why I thought it would be good to look at what specifically I will do as we go through all this, as we're facing some downwards price pressures. So I created this, and this shows exactly when I will buy over the coming weeks. So I etched out how much I would buy just for a little bit of privacy for myself and for my family, but you can see when I will buy here. So I'm going to be DCing a small amount every week into crypto, every week I'm going to be DCing a certain amount, and then as we dip, I will buy a certain amount. So this amount that I'm DCing is slightly smaller than the buy that I did just the other day at 38,000. I'll also be putting some into Ethereum and some into another altcoin, but this amount in Bitcoin is going to be significantly higher than the other two. So this is going to be about 80% of what I put in, then this is going to be even less. This is going to be 20%, so split between ETH and some other alt. Then as we fall down, I'll put more into Bitcoin, and then I'll keep about the same that I'm putting into alts. And then as we go down further and further, I will put a little bit more in Ethereum and other alts, but I'll be focusing more on Bitcoin. So as we go down here, it'll be more like 90 to 95 to even probably 96, 97% of my buys will be in Bitcoin as opposed to some of these other altcoins. That's just because it's a lot harder to know what's going to happen with these altcoins as we are at farther and farther down prices, but they also are probably going to get hit much harder. Now, I have planned out these buys at strategic amounts based on kind of where we've been in the past. I think we see some supports around about 35,000 or so for Bitcoin. 33 is about where we went to last time. 30 is a big psychological number. 28 is breaking below where we hit last summer. And then you can go all the way down. And I don't think we'll hit 8,000. I don't think we'll hit 11, even 16 or 20, I think would be very unlikely. But if there's war, maybe we get down to 28. Maybe there's a lot of liquidations. I could see that happening. So I did want to put these in here. And where is this money now? And this continues to get bigger all the way down. So I'm not putting in as much up here. Where's this money coming from? It's coming from some of the stablecoin yields that I'm getting. I realize that those are actually really attractive yields right now, up to 20% on Anchor. So I'm happy to keep the money there because it's pretty liquid and there is risk with it, but I think for 20% it is a good risk to reward ratio. But if we get down to $8,000 Bitcoin, you better believe that I'm going to put money in on Bitcoin because that's going to appreciate a lot more over time. And then overall, I actually broke down the numbers for how much I would buy and how much I'd spend, and it basically is the majority of my stablecoin supply. Almost all of it right now is what I'm willing to put into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other alts. But if this doesn't happen, if we get cut off right here and we never break below this, I'm fine with that. I'd be happy with that because I still have a lot of money in Anchor Protocol making me 20% a year. So I'm happy if that happens as well. Now, what is the other altcoin that I'll probably be buying a lot of? Well, honestly, it's probably Solana. So I was doing a transaction here today and I etched out what it was for, but the network fee was less than 0.00001 Solana, which I broke down, and it was less than 100th of a cent. And when I looked actually on SolScan, it's half of that. So it said less than 0.00001, and it was only half the fee. So it's like 1,000th of a cent. And I realize that's highly centralized. I realize all that stuff. But the fact is, it is one of the best cryptos out there, I believe, in terms of transaction speed and the cost. So I think it will still be highly used in the future. And I think that it has a bright future, even though it's new. I think there's a reason it's in the top 10. So I am happy to buy more of this. I've been buying a lot recently, and I will continue to do that. Now, like I said, overall, not a great day in the crypto market. A lot of cryptos down 8, 10, 20%, but that is just the cost of volatility. That's the cost of the upside, is that there is going to be high volatility on the downside too. So let me know your thoughts about all this underneath the video. Let me know what you think is going to happen. I know some people think that there's nothing happening here, that this is all just made up, but I find that a little bit hard to believe at this point. But let me know if you think that's the case in the comment section underneath the video. Beware of the scammers underneath the video, and check out the link underneath to BlockFi and to Unstoppable Domains, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.